Hello lovelies, I'm Christina and today I'm going to show you the books that I would like to reread. Now, I'm not one who often rereads books just because I have so many books on my TBR list and I really want to get to them. But there are a few books that kind of lingers, that stays in my mind, and I keep going back to them and thinking about them, and I would love to kind of revisit them. So I'm gonna show you a few of them. Now the first one is one that I did a Norwegian review of. I had an arc of it and the Norwegian publisher sent me a hardcover of the book. Now this book was originally written in Italian and then it was translated to Norwegian. It has now been translated to German, I think, but not English, not yet. And that's this one, and it is Piken fra Piemonte by Fioly Bocca. Now, if I were to translate this, it would be The Girl from Piemonte, and it is the story of Anita. Anita, she is kind of stuck in her habits, her perfect life. Then she's told that her mom is dying and she tries to send her uplifting letters to tell her that everything is perfect, her life is great, family, husband, kids, everything is great. That is not the truth. And then she goes on this train ride and she meets a man, and there's something special about him. They have this very incredible connection, and it is a love story. It is a story about finding yourself. It is very much about the fear of getting out of your comfort zone and leaving something that seems safe and familiar to go and explore and do new things. I loved this one and I would really like to revisit it. Hopefully, maybe soon. The next one is one that was sent to me by the author a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it when I read it, and that is Afterlife by Daniel Ionson. This is a dark fantasy novel. You have these characters who are getting ready for war, and then it is all for naught when they wake up in a totally different realm and they have no idea what's going on and they're trying to find their way back. I absolutely loved this, and it was so different. I remember loving this so much, and this is definitely one that I would like to reread. Next up, we have a couple of classics, and for those of you who've been around here for a while, you know that me and classics, we don't go well together. Well, not all classics at least, but there are a couple that I've really enjoyed, and the first one is the one that I found to be a bit slow-paced but very interesting, and that is this baby right here. Can you see it? Is it upside down? Yes, it's upside down. It is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This time I remember to refocus my camera. So I remember finding Dracula to be very interesting but a bit slow paced, but the time I was reading this, I was doing it for an online course that I was taking about fantasy and science fiction literature, and for that assignment that I had about Bram Stoker, I had to pick this novel kind of apart, and I had this time frame to do so, and I kind of felt rushed, and so I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I would have if I just read it to enjoy it. And that is one of the reasons why I would really like to reread Dracula. The other classic that I have is one that I listened to on Audible a long time ago, and one that I really enjoyed, and I've also seen the movie, which I thought was pretty good, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And how awesome is this Hey Girl Ryan Gosling cover? It has the sprayed edges as well. I love these editions. I think they're super cute and hilarious, so I had to get this. But this is one that I really enjoyed, but I think there's a very different experience from listening to a book and reading a book. Even though you get the full story and everything, it's kind of a different feel. So I would love to try to actually read this one. Then we have a couple of Stephen King books, of course. And the first one is one that I've mentioned that I wanted to reread quite a few times actually, and that is Bag of Bones. This was the first Stephen King book that I ever read. It has been years and years and years since that time, and I remember bits and pieces of this story, but if someone told me to retell it completely, I wouldn't be able to. I remember it was something about ghosts, something about being haunted, a house, a writer, I think. Oh, and I remember in the start where the main character wife suddenly dies in a parking lot. That's pretty much all I remember from this now, and I think I kind of remember how it ends, but I think I really need to reread this and see if I love it as much as I did the first time, because this is the one that got me hooked on Stephen King books. So this is an important book for me. It has kind of shaped my reading for years. So that's why I would love to reread this. Maybe it would be a completely different experience this time around. Next up, no surprise, the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Now, I have reread the first book, maybe also the second book. I'm not really sure. I would have to check my Goodreads for that. But this is also a series that I've loved so much, and I really enjoyed going back and reading The Gunslinger, so I would definitely love to read the full series one more time. It's just that the books are so chunky, and I have so many books on my TBR list, so it's a bittersweet thing. I love these, and I want to revisit it, but I don't know when I'm gonna have the time for it. Last up, we have a graphic novel, and this one, I've spoken about my love for this one a few times, but I've actually only read it once. And it's actually ridiculous that I haven't reread this because it doesn't take long to read it at all. It's mostly drawings. But this is the only graphic novel who has ever made me cry. It is just, it's so gorgeous. I love it so much. And that is this one, The Sculptor by Scott McCloud. This is the story of a man who works as a sculptor and he's kind of failing at it and he sells his soul. So he's going to be a successful sculptor, an artist, but he only has a certain amount of days to live. I think it's like 200 days or something like that. Yes, 200 days to live. And then, of course, in the time frame of those 200 days, he meets the love of his life. Oh, it is so gorgeous. See, all the drawings are in these beautiful blue colors. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I just loved this so much, and I definitely need to reread this. So there you have it. Those are a few of the books that I would love to reread. I will link to all of the books down below so you can go check them out if you want to. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any books that you keep on going back to and rereading, or if there's a particular book that you've wanted to reread for a long time but just haven't gotten around to. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next video soon. Goodbye!